I know lots of people are really excited to hear about your story, so I'll get right to it. Could you tell us a little bit about your egg donation journey?
Yeah, absolutely. So I first discovered the process of egg donation back in 2017. I was working as a nanny and I found out that a little girl that I was looking after was conceived via donor eggs. She was the family's rainbow baby that had a successful birth 4 years prior and then had suffered subsequent miscarriages. So had sort of been through probably quite a similar journey, minus the first child to Becky, with the miscarriages and then finding out that they needed to use donor eggs. And they managed to get a successful cycle and had a beautiful little girl, and it was the first time that I'd ever really heard about it. So before sort of researching it, I didn't realise how common issues like infertility and struggling to conceive were. And I do know now that it's very widespread, and I try to help raise awareness through the work that Altrui's done and also through my own journey. Try and share that with friends and see if anyone wants to jump on my bandwagon and donate their eggs as well, because I think it's a wonderful thing to do. So yeah, I went through Altrui. I ended up donating twice in 2019. Once in the February and then again in the November, December time. And it's an anonymous donation, so I don't know the recipients, but I know that they had a little girl from my first donation, and that my second donation are currently pregnant.
Oh, amazing. I'm curious how how you feel about the donation.
Yeah, so I'm very open about what I did, and I tell people it's not a sperm donation. It's not necessarily the easiest thing in the world. There are drugs involved, and it can be a bit of a process. But the support that I got from Altrui throughout my donation was second to none. As Jane said earlier, it's really a one-to-one service, and I'm sure that the recipients felt exactly the same if they received any level of treatment that I did, because it was really incredible. In terms of the donation, I absolutely love that I was able to give a family that gift. Obviously, I've got first-hand experience of how that changes a family, and how having a baby who's donor conceived is just such a gift, and almost in a way a better gift than a child that you can conceive by yourself, because there's that special connection that you have with your donor and with your child who is so wanted. And I felt that love the whole way through from Altrui, and from the passings on from my recipients.
I remember you once we were chatting, and I think you said you found out that you'd been matched in a supermarket.
Yes, I was in the middle of a supermarket, and I got a call from Sarah, and I burst out crying in the middle of a supermarket, and everyone probably thought that I was loopy. But it was crazy. It is like a really special connection. I talk about quite a lot how I feel like the recipients that I've donated to and myself are on sort of a parallel path, and we've both been through very similar treatments to get to the point where we could sort of intersect without seeing each other, and it's so special. I do feel an affinity to them that's very strong. Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, when you think about the recipient, how do you feel? No, especially knowing their result.
So much love. I've had friends, who question it, because it's hard to feel the sort of pride that you do without having ever met someone. Altrui provided us with a fantastic service, so where we could sort of exchange cards through Altrui that were they were checked midpoint for personal information because it's an anonymous donation, but we were able to send each other a card that said, good luck with the process, or they sent me one that said, good luck with your donation, we really hope it goes well. And then when they donated, was able to send them a card congratulating them. When they had their daughter, I was able to send them a card to congratulate them, which, you know, it just adds that special touch to it, and it is very, very special to me. They hold a good place in my heart.
That's so wonderful, Rachel. And maybe one or two more questions. I think a lot of potential recipients worry that the donor might have attachment to the child. So I'm curious how you feel about the child, or what, in this case I think children, born. You know, are you attached to them? Would you want to meet them if they came? How would you feel?
Yeah, so I think it's different for every donor, and it's different for every recipient in how they react. I have no attachment to the donor child. I obviously feel an immense pride that I was able to help create such a beautiful little baby. I'm sure she is. But I don't have any attachment to her. I don't have any contact, and I'm not in any way considered as a parent to her. The thing that I did was give someone the tools so that they could start a family. I didn't start a family for them, as I've always seen it. So yeah, it's at 18, the donor child can contact me if she wishes. So I have to keep my details up to date with the HFEA, which is the Human, I'm going to get it wrong, Fertilization and Embryology Association. You get told all about it, and the counselling sessions really help with sort of figuring out where you stand with things like that. So if you don't want any contact, you still have to keep your details up to date. But when the donor child gets in contact, there's no obligation at all to respond. I think I would be quite happy if they reached out at 18. I'm not holding my breath for it, because obviously it's their life. If they don't want to reach out for any reason, I completely respect that. But I feel like the journey that me and her parents embarked on alongside each other, it'd be quite nice to finally meet, and, you know, to see the fruit of everything that we did. But yes, I have quite an overwhelming sense of pride when it comes to them, all three of them, and, you know, it's really lovely. And if they do keep in contact, that would be great, and if they don't, then so be it.
You wish them well.
Yeah, precisely.
Oh, amazing.
So
yeah, please do.
Yeah, me last time, and you've done it again. You've really made me want to cry.
Oh.
It's just so amazing to hear your perspective and the reasons why you've done something. And it's so hard to put into words, so I'm going there. Just how life-changing that is for somebody. So yeah, just thank you for people like you for making these finished. I'm going to switch off for a minute.
And I think it is that part that a lot of the time donors don't realise what a special thing that they're doing. You know, you're helping someone create a family that they've yearned for most of the time years. You know, they've been through this immense journey to get to a point where you give them that little bit of hope when they're probably at the point where there's not very much left. And I've always felt quite proud of that. And I've had experiences where I've been talking to friends about it, and I've welled up myself, because it is something that's quite incredible, and I'm very lucky that I was in a position to be able to do it. Very, very lucky.